Do you know that green bean casserole that uses that canned soup maybe to help thicken it up? Well, we're gonna make a healthier version of green bean casserole today. This is quick, easy, and simple, and absolutely wonderful. So today we are taking 2 pounds of green beans, 2.5 pounds of green beans. We're actually gonna coat these with a little bit of olive oil, and then we're going to roast them. They're going to go into the oven to be roasted on 425 for about 20 minutes till they're nice and done. And then we're gonna make a wonderful sauce to go with it, to put over it, and then crunchy breadcrumbs on top. So first, tossing these green beans, putting them in a layer in a pan, single layer. So if you have more and you want more space, by all means you can use a sheet pan. I like using a disposable pan because at the end of the day, when it's time for cleanup, it goes in the trash. So by all means you have that, or you have foil to put on your pan. That's always a wonderful trick. These are going in the oven 425 for 20 minutes, and we'll check on them, tossing them halfway between. We have our green beans roasting in the oven, and while they're roasting, we're gonna take a few minutes to put together the topping at first. Oh, and can you hear those onions sizzling behind me? So we have the onions sizzling, the green beans roasting, and we are gonna make the topping for our green bean casserole right now. It's super simple. This is whole wheat breadcrumbs that you can find at the grocery store. Or if you don't wanna buy breadcrumbs, if you have wheat bread that you have that's older, or if you have wheat bread that you wanna use, you can actually throw it into the oven and toast it a little bit and then grind it up. So we have 1.5 cups of whole wheat breadcrumbs. And these are seasoned breadcrumbs, so they have a little bit of parsley and other herbs in there. They smell lovely. And then we have some olive oil. We are going to pour this olive oil right over, just a tablespoon. And we're gonna make sure that that olive oil gets dispersed amongst all of the breadcrumbs, because this is gonna be our topping for that wonderful green bean casserole. Instead of those French fried onions that we all know, this is gonna be that crunch that we need on top of the green beans. So I hear my onions sizzling away. I'm gonna turn around and pay attention to them for a second. I'm gonna give them a little bit of stir. And what we're looking for with the onions is for them to be translucent, and we're getting there. So what we're going to do, I am gonna leave the heat on because I'm just gonna move this forward to show you. We are going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. This is a white wheat flour. We're gonna add this. We're gonna mix it around in the onions and get the onions all coated. So what happens here is that oil that we use to cook the green bean or the onions in is going to coat that flour. So that's what's going to make our sauce thick. We are going to then add some milk. So right now I am using a spatula, and as you can see here, it's kind of pasty and thick, and that flour is all over those onions. That's exactly what we're looking for. I'm gonna return this to the heat just for a few seconds. What we wanna do is cook the rawness out of the flour. So we're gonna cook that up. While that's cooking, I'm going to get, let me move this over, 2.5 cups of milk. We are using a low-fat milk here. This is a 2-cup measuring cup, so I will come back for 1/2 cup. We're gonna add some salt to that. That's 3/4 teaspoon of salt. This is a 1/4 teaspoon, so I'm adding 3 of those. And then we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. This is where our flavor is going to come in. The onions, and then also that salt and pepper, so good. I am gonna change over to a whisk now. So what's gonna happen is as we add our milk into the saucepan, it's gonna start to thicken up with that flour and the onions. So here we go. Be sure you keep whisking this. You'll notice that over time it will thicken up. We'll show you that beautiful sauce here in a few minutes. Here we are ready for assembly. We have our roasted green beans. We're gonna add 1/2 of them into the bottom of our pan. We're gonna add 1/2 of our sauce. Now, this sauce, you can see how it's thickened up. This sauce, now if you wanted to have mushroom flavor, by all means, when you saute the onions, you can add the mushrooms and saute those then too. So here I am just zhuzhing this around. I love that word, right? Zhuzh. And then the rest of the green beans, we're gonna add those right in here. Now I've preset my broiler. I've turned it on so it's getting nice and hot, because everything right here is hot. It's nice and warm. The only thing that we are going to do is toast the breadcrumbs on top of our green bean casserole. So the remainder of this yummy sauce goes in the pan. Now, if you wanted a little extra bit of flavor, by all means, again, you could add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to the breadcrumbs as well. That really gives a great pop of flavor. So here I am, here's our green beans, with that yummy bechamel. That's called a bechamel sauce, which is a white sauce. And so here we go, we have that in our pan. We're gonna top it with these yummy breadcrumbs. Just quickly sprinkle them on top. Now I'm tilting the pan so all of the wonderful green beans were being slid into one direction. Look at that, here we go. This is going under the broiler just for a couple minutes to toast the top of the breadcrumbs and bring everything together.